If you want a bit more adjustability than a split screen template can give you, this method will seem a bit messy at start, but once you've set it up, it's easy to adjust and animate. I've also linked the work files in the description if you want to skip the tutorial part and just get to work with it. Make a new comp in any size you want and create the solid. Add two slider control effects in it and rename them cell width and offset. Offset will adjust the cell's position. Add the linear wipe effect on the layer. By the way, I'm using FX Console by Video Copilot to place the effects. It lets you do that very quickly by pressing Ctrl and spacebar. Leave the angle of the linear wipe as 90 and alt-click the stopwatch next to transition completion. Write open parentheses 100 minus, then drag the big whip to the cell width slider and close parentheses. After the parentheses /2 plus, drag the big whip to the offset slider and press enter. Duplicate the linear wipe effect and in the copy alt-click the stopwatch next to wipe angle. We want the angle to be reversed from the angle of the other linear wipe. So get the wipe angle value from that, add -180 at the end and press enter. For the expression in transition completion, we'll only replace the plus sign with minus. Check that the cell width slider works and the offset slider adjusts the position. Duplicate the layer a couple of times and change the offset values of the copies so that they're evenly spaced. Change the colors of the solids if you want. We can set the offset of each layer separately, but to move them all with one slider, we can add a control layer. Make a new adjustment layer and name it control. Move it to the top of the layer stack. Add the slider control effect in it and rename it to move all. For the slider, you can adjust the range by right-clicking the value and choosing Edit Value. Change it to range between -100 and 100 and press OK. At the top of the Effect Controls panel, press that little lock icon to lock it. Go to the upper linear wipe effect on the topmost cell layer and edit the expression. Add the plus sign at the end and drag the big whip to the Move All value in the control layer and press enter. On the lower linear wipe effect, do the same thing but with a minus sign instead of a plus sign. Now unlock the Effect Controls panel, copy-paste the updated linear wipes to the other cell layers, and test the Move All slider in the control layer. Pretty handy if you want to have the cells appear from the same side or have some subtle movement. If we want to adjust the width of the cells from one place, we can add a slider for that. In the control layer, add the slider control. Rename it to Size Multiplier. Set its range from 0 to 2, again by right-clicking, choosing Edit Value and set the value to 1. On the topmost cell layer, alt-click the stopwatch next to cell width and after the text that appears add an asterisk. Then, with the control layer selected, drag the big whip to the Size Multiplier value and press enter. You can still change the value, but it always applies the multiplier to it. Now you can copy the updated cell width slider to the other layers. Try moving the slider in the control layer and see that it changes the size of all cells. In the same way, we can set the angle of all of the cells to be adjustable from one place. First off, add an angle control effect in the control layer. Then go to the topmost linear wipe effect on the first layer and drag the big whip of the wipe angle to that new angle control. Then copy that linear wipe, go to the other layers, select the first linear wipe on each and paste. There's one more slider that would be nice to add. Sometimes we may want to animate the spacing of the cells. For that, let's add one more slider control effect in the control layer and name it Offset Multiplier. Set its range to be between 0 and 2 with the default value of 1. On the topmost cell layer, alt-click the stopwatch of the offset slider. After the text that appears, add asterisk, and with the control layer selected, drag the big whip to the offset multiplier value, then press enter. Copy the text of the expression and add it to the offset sliders of the other layers by alt-clicking the stopwatch and pasting the text. To replace the colors with footage, you can just place your clips at the bottom of the layer stack and use the color layers as masks for them. By the way, for fast previewing, I recommend polishing the split screen animations using just solids before adding the footage, since rendering several video clips at once is very sluggish. You can pretty easily apply the same to radial wipes if you need to animate something like a pie chart. Duplicate your composition and use the same split screen as a starting point. Leave one of the cell layers there and remove the other ones. On the remaining cell layer, disable the linear wipes and make a radial wipe effect. For transition completion, copy-paste the expression of the upper linear wipe but remove everything after the number 2. Add the new angle control effect. This will kind of replace the offset. In the radial wipe, drag the big whip next to start angle to the new angle control effect. Duplicate the radial wipe effect and set the new one to counterclockwise. Test that the cell width and angle control sliders both work. If you adjust the angle, you probably start seeing some pixels where the border of the two radial wipes meet. You can remove that weird line by editing the start angle expression in the radial wipe effects by adding plus 0.05 to the end of the counterclockwise one and minus 0.05 to the end of the clockwise one. Now you can duplicate the layer and adjust the angle control value on the duplicates the way you want them. In the control layer, the size multiplier and move all sliders should still work. You can remove the angle control slider there. After removing it, you'll see an error from the linear wipe effects trying to reference it. At this point, you can remove all the linear wipe effects and the error should disappear. In the control layer, change the name of the move all effect to rotate all. Then in the topmost cell layer, alt-click the stopwatch of angle control, and after the text that appears, add plus, and with the control layer selected, drag the big whip to the rotate all slider. Copy-paste the expression to the angle control effects of the other cell layers. You could use these cells as masks for something like a pie chart, or if you add a few more layers, you can get this strobe-like thing that can maybe work for transitions. Anyway, that's all. If you're still awake, thanks for sticking with me. I'll see if I'll do another tutorial sometime in the future.